Uh, Good morning. I've given up with not wanting to make live streams. What I tried to express earlier, not last night, previous live streams, is a case of finding myself in terror. I'm having to work through all that energy, all that pressure, all that energy, all that pressure, all that energy, all that pressure that I had to give to life to come to the realization I'm in terror. So in other words, I was in denial, or I had justifiable reasons given everything, but I was ultimately in denial about being in terror for many years. And my pursuit was to achieve as much healing, as much balance in my life as possible. And through that process, part of the healing process, for healing, at least what I found very relevant in life, is acceptance is a big part. And I didn't realize through the healing process I'd find myself in realization that I'm actually in terror from life. What it took for me to give to life was already hard and challenging. To admit to myself I was in terror, and to be able to cope with it and digest it was a superhuman amount of energy. And now I found myself here, I've sort of lost my mind in the process of getting here. At least that's what it's looking like in the immediate, because what's happening is the energy that I gave to life in application of healing, balance, and just wanting to live. It's coming to bite me on the bum. In other words, I managed to get to the plateau of realizing I'm in terror in terms of my healing. Now I'm here. The factors that constituted me now I'm here. The thing that I know to do is to be present with the terror. I have an action plan there to deal with it. How to function with terror. Even if it's just to keep me sane from day to day. What's happening is all that energy that I gave to life to overcome mountains that I shouldn't have ever climbed. In other words, the traumas that I went through before were immense. And to summon the energy in the pursuit of healing to really remove everything else from life. So in other words, in terror there isn't life. In terror there's the present moment and the need to function, the need to be practical, and the need to remove the terror. And all those traumas that I had before, I was finding ways to, I don't want to say cope, I was finding ways to find little gaps in life and try and live there. It wasn't pleasant, but I was fighting and I was a warrior through the healing process. So because I had quite a few traumas of my past that I just can't explore to my consciousness, I can't go back and explore them there. Not without me setting out a plan and focusing on it and saying, I've got the next 6 months, a year, 2 years of mental health-free life, physical pain-free life to focus on this. I don't have that space. So at the moment, they're all looking like an impossibility of ever overcoming or going back to. I don't stop in my pursuit of healing. And for me to have realized I'm in terror, it meant I needed to remove everything else in my life. To get to the place where the truth can be seen. So in other words, I needed to terrorize my whole life. I needed to remove everything else that was enjoyable to such an extent that what was left wasn't worth anything. And I could be truthful to myself in that moment and say, right, life is terrifying. Not as a conscious thing, right now life is terrifying, but that was the process to get into realization of just being in terror. I'm not talking about a mental thing. That was part of the healing process, what I just said there, of saying, right now, this is serious, right? I didn't ever use the word terror, but I knew that things were so bad and I thought depression was as bad as it could get. And I was like, right now I'm depressed. And through that honesty, it's like the dominoes started to fall, and quickly after, I was able to acknowledge to myself that I'm in depression, I'm in terror. All that constant energy and application to life through the healing process, and what it must have meant with several big traumas in my past, and the constant awareness as a healer to continue healing and to have healed so many traumas of my past and of my life. What it's taken of me to summon over the past few years to stay with it as much as possible. I've made all these live streams. Yeah, I've not looked with it, most of it, but if you listen to what I say and ignore the screams and what you hear of me as drama and emotional, anything of emotion, there's sanity and sense. What is taken of me to get my life to the point where everything has been removed to the extent I can say I'm not to have admitted to myself, no, I'm in depression. And all of that energy that took me to the point I've gotten myself to say honestly to myself, oh no, I'm in depression. This huge amount of energy carried forward. So it was like all that energy, I'm applying energy to life, I'm applying energy to life. right, I can't take it anymore. I'm depressed. I'm stopping. So I stop. I'm depressed. And all of that energy continues and it pushes me further to the realization I'm in terror. And it's taking me further still. Because hearing it back denotes that it's a healing energy, and whatever distraction it brings to my life is in way of healing. But I'm telling you, in terror, I shouldn't be alive. And the body's not stupid to suffer beyond its limits. If I'm not on course for a heart attack or something else, I'd be very surprised. Because it's taken me beyond terror. And as I said, in terror, I don't want to make a live stream for my life. I don't want to know another human being. Unfortunately, where it's taken me beyond terror, I'm using the last few coping strategies I had, healing strategies I had in place on a daily basis. And one of them is the live streams. It's a big part of my healing. So I'm having to resort to live streams even though I don't want to be making them. And this morning's challenge was a challenge. So I thought, what can I make a live stream about? It's taken me 12.5 minutes to get to the start. And what I'd like to make a live stream about is to ask for a prayer. I've lived on the boat now I moved on back in November, December. So that's one. This is the 7th month. I've lived on it for 6 months. Other than a few occasions, I've wanted a coal boat, a fuel boat, to stop so I can get some coal ever since I moved on. I've not managed to flag one down yet. I've not seen one. They go by quite frequently. You should get 2-3 a week. Basically, there's boats up and down the canal, and they have gas and coal and firewood and red diesel, which is basically for generators to produce electricity, the same they use in tractors, that doesn't get taxed to the same extent as cars. And they go up and down the canals. And I remember I used to flag one down every so often, and that's when I used to work 5 days a week. I've not been able to please the gods enough that they can provide me, not with divine timing, but an overdue payment of all the normal timing a human being should be granted. And to ask for a prayer that you let them know that this guy Gabriel, he keeps making live streams about terror now, and he's not happy. He's never happy, and he doesn't seem to be getting any happier. Please, God, grant him that repayment of some of that credit he's got towards you that you've started and asked for you to take. Let him flag a fucking coal boat down today and expletive in there. I'd really like a coal boat because I've been fighting, and again with healing, with something I've been trying to shake in my system for a few years. And I was aware when I was in the flat, I was using the heating excessively to manage my condition, whatever that thing was in the background. And I was aware that moving onto a boat would give me an opportunity not to be in so much control. I light a fire, I'm going to have to wait half an hour for it to warm up. It's good training. It's a good mentality to shifting this thing. It's one of the positives to moving onto a boat in a negative way, in in an uncomfortable way, but that sort of uncomfortableness is the sort of uncomfortableness I perceive that really life asks us to man up to at that level. And I've been fighting with it. It was horrible with this, when I first started to move on. It was December. I didn't have insulation on. It was really, really hard the first few months. I had some coal. I had to order it online and get it delivered, or I had the car at the time. I used to go and pick it up. That's what it was. But obviously, if a boat was passing, I'd much prefer that. No reason I wouldn't. Waste petrol and then have to go out when I just want to do some DIY. Let me see your prayers today come true. Leave a few voicemails for the gods, please. Other than that, it's grey and overcast, but I can't see the sky. I'm blind. In a different way. Happy Sunday.